Hi yogis, Emmy here. Today I have a quick 15-minute flow to crow. Let's get started in cat-cow. We'll bring our knees underneath our hips and our hands below our shoulders. We'll take a deep inhale, turn your gaze up, turn your tailbone up, and find a deep arch in your spine. Now on an exhale, tuck your chin, tuck your tailbone. All right, let's take our hands and let's actually flip our fingertips towards our knees. We'll do cat-cow again with reverse palms. Inhale, turn your gaze up, find that deep arch. Let your stomach hang low, but your core pull in tight. Exhale, tuck your chin, tuck your tailbone. Pull your spine in the opposite direction. You'll find a nice arch upward. Inhale, turn your gaze up and your tailbone up. Find that deep arch downward in cow posture. Pull your core in tight. And exhale, tuck your chin, tuck your tailbone, and lift your stomach up towards the sky. Inhale, gaze and tailbone up. Exhale, tuck it in for cat. All right, let's flip our palms in the other direction. It'll be facing towards the top of the mat. Tuck your toes behind you, and let's just hover our knees above the mat. We'll find some core strength. Try to push away from the floor, creating a little bit more strength in your back muscles. Exhale, release down to the mat. Take a deep inhale, and on the exhale, let's hover those knees again in a hovering tabletop. Now lower those knees to the mat. We'll do that one more time. Inhale, and on the exhale, hover again. This time, let's take our knees out wide and shift our hips down towards our feet in sort of a frog posture. You can just hold it here. Let your hips open up. Find a little bit less tension in your shoulders. You can push your shoulder blades away from your ears, pressing them down your back. Now let's shift our weight forward into that hovering tabletop. And shift your weight back into frog again. Shift your weight forward into a hovering tabletop. And shift your weight back into a frog. Turn your gaze up towards your hands. Shift your weight forward into hovering tabletop. Lower your knees down to the mat. Let's take your right hand out in front of you and your left foot out behind you. Elongate, strengthen your back side of your body, reaching from the front to the back of the room. You can point your toes or flex them. Notice how it feels in your body and decide what feels right for you. Now let's lower the hand and the knee down to the mat. Let's take our left arm out and our right foot back. Reach from one direction to the other. Maybe point and flex your toes. Notice the way it feels in your body. Now lower your hand and your foot to the mat. Let's tuck our toes, lift our knees, and press into downward facing dog. A lot of us have just woken up or we're just starting out in our exercise. This is just a quick 15-minute flow, so go ahead and walk out your dog. See if you can stretch those hamstrings. Maybe lift up on both of your toes and then lower your heels to the mat. wake up these muscles so we can feel good. All right, press both of your heels into the mat. Look at your hands, step high on your toes and step behind your wrists. Let's take our hands and place them on the back of our neck, interlacing our fingers. Rest in ragdoll. Your chest can rest on your thighs. You can find a nice generous bend in your knees and maybe rock back and forth. Lower your hands to the mat. Roll up one vertebrae at a time until you reach the top. Roll your shoulders up, back, and down. Let's inhale our arms up towards the sky. Exhale our hands down through heart centers, be forward fold. Inhale, half lift, finding a straight spine. Exhale, forward fold. Place your hands on the mat and step back into plank. Let's lower through chaturanga, elbows in tight. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Take your right foot up towards the sky behind you. 3-leg down dog. Try to keep those hips squared. You don't want height in this posture, you want strength. Take a deep inhale, and on the exhale, crunch your knee to your nose one time. And hold. Inhale, back up. Exhale, take your foot and place it on the outside of your right hand. Come into lizard lunge. Let's rock in this posture. Let's open up those hips. You can find stillness. You can lower your knee if you like. And if you want, you can even lower down to your forearms to find a deeper stretch. Maybe place the top of your foot on the mat. It's important to listen to your body and just do whatever feels right in your own personal body. Right, if you're on your forearms, let's press our hands into the mat, tuck our back toes, lift our knee, and we'll step back into a plank posture. Lower through chaturanga with elbows in tight. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take your left foot up towards the sky in a 3-legged down dog. Keep those hips squared. Don't find height, find strength. Feel your muscles strengthen and tighten. Take a deep inhale, and on the exhale, crunch your knee to your nose in a high plank. Inhale, back up. Exhale, release your foot down on the outside of your left hand. Come into a lizard lunge. You can rock in this posture. Find some movement to juice those joints, keep them healthy and moving. Maybe find some stillness. You can hold it in this posture, or you can lower your knee to the mat. Maybe the top of your foot to the mat. Stay here, or you can lower down to your forearms if you like. Tuck your back toe, press your hands into the mat if they aren't there. Lift your knee and step back into plank. Let's lower down to cobra. Inhale, press away from the mat, lifting your chest up towards the sky. Turn your gaze up towards the sky as well. Pull your shoulders down away from your ears. Release the tension in your shoulders. Exhale, lower down to the mat. Take a deep inhale, press your hands into the mat, lift back up into Cobra, turning your gaze up towards the sky. Now turn your gaze over your left shoulder behind you. Exhale, come to center. Take a deep inhale and turn your gaze over your right shoulder, looking behind you. Exhale, turn your gaze forward. Let's shift into child's pose. Take a deep inhale, and on the exhale, press up into downward facing dog. Now, if you're familiar with crow and you have a good crow, you can go ahead and jump into it. If you're still working on your crow skills, I'd like to invite you to bring out your blocks, place them on the mat in front of you. You can come back into your downward facing dog. Lift high in your toes. Exhale, lower them. Lift high on your toes. Exhale, lower them. Now let's just walk our feet up behind our wrists. We'll want to find a nice bend backwards in our wrists. Lift up onto your toes and try to place your knees in your underarms. Your elbows will create a shelf by bending backward like chaturanga arms. It's really important that they don't go outward because they do support you in this posture. So keep them aimed back, creating a shelf for yourself. You can adjust your blocks if you think you need to. Lean forward and place your head on your blocks. You can press away. Notice how that felt in your body. Did it feel like you were tipping over? Let's lift your hips up high. Find that shelf by bending your elbows backwards. Place your forehead on the mat and just lift one foot. Release. And lift the other foot. And release. You can release your heels to the mat if you need to. Let's bend our elbows back again. Our knees go in our underarms. Place your head on the mat and see if you can lift both feet at the same time. You want to really use your core muscles, pulling your legs up tight, using your core muscles to lift your bottom up towards the air. Release whenever you're ready. You can keep trying that. Maybe you want to move one block to the side. Place your head on the block. Lift up. Exhale, release. Maybe you like to try without a block. You can place a pillow for comfort. Lift your hips up towards the sky. Bend your elbows back towards your knees. You want to shift your head forward as if you're placing it on the block, but there's no blocks this time. You can lift one foot. Release. Lift the other foot. Release. Maybe you want to shift your weight forward and lift both. And release. You can hold it as long as you like, or you can release right away as you get used to the practice. Just keep practicing. So knees in your underarms, elbows bent backwards, creating a shelf. Exhale as you lift your feet and lower down. All right, let's lower our knees to the mat. Let's take an inhale and lift our arms up towards the sky. Find a gentle back bend. Exhale your hands down to the mat. Walk them forward into child's pose. Take a moment to breathe. You did amazing today. You worked your muscles. You found a lot of movement and strength. Take a deep inhale. And on your exhale, roll up one vertebrae at a time into a seated posture. Roll your shoulders up, back, and down. Thanks for practicing with me today. I hope you enjoyed.